Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, all praises and double honors due to Yahweh by Hashem HaMashiach Malak Yahushai. It's Brother Yardnan, W5 Detroit, coming back at you with yet another cool cut. Today in this cool cut, we will be examining this video, breaking it down through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, and getting a better understanding of what's going on. So, what we've seen in that video is something that is written in the law. To be a little bit more specific, that's Deuteronomy 22nd chapter. Right, which goes into the tokens of virginity. All right, now this is a law that's still being done to this very day. For what reason? Well, one, there's nothing new under the sun. But not only that, if I'm not mistaken, that's Ishmael in that video. Now, if you know anything about Ishmael and Islam, you will know that it took a lot of laws and the things that the Hebrews did and applied it to their own lifestyle. So we're going to dive into it. And the first source of evidence we're going to bring out is from Babylon and Timbuktu to further prove that. We're going to start right here. The Prophet Muhammad adopted many principles and laws from the Jewish religion. And again, it's not Jewish, but you know, when you read these certain historical books, you have to spit out the bones while chewing the meat. The Prophet Muhammad adopted many principles and laws from the Jew religion. First of all, the basic idea of monotheism, which is the belief in one God. The Jewish confession of the unity of God is Shema Israel, Adani Allahu, Adani Ahad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. The Mohammedan slogan is as follows, and as you can see, I'm not going to read it, but you can see it. There's no God, but so you continue to read it. Muhammad adopted also the main details of the Jew calendar, the Day of Atonement, the Sabbath, much of the Bible, and narratives from the Midrash, and many points of the ritual law. Incidentally, the Jews prayed 3 times a day facing the city of Jerusalem. The Muslims, true believers, so-called, pray 5 times a day facing the city of Mecca. Trying his best, Muhammad sought to convert the Jews to his new religion, but to no avail. The Jews were adamant in resisting to change. The high esteem which the Prophet held for the Jews was transformed to enmity, and instead of allies, he looked upon them as competitors. Muhammad needed the confirmation of the influential Jews to validate his mission, as all upstarts need the backing of someone influential. Muhammad therefore turned against the Jews and became their tormentor, which is why it specifically states in the Quran to kill Jews, right, and not be friends with them, because he understood that he was literally copying off of them. You understand? So what we seen in that video is found in the law, and we're going to prove it. We're going to bring it out. And it's not that it's a bad thing that they're doing that, but more so is under the banner of Islam. Right? So they're doing all of that in the name of a false god. So it gets is muddy. You understand? But nevertheless, there's still some knowledge that can come out of watching that video, because again, it goes back to the law. So this is Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse, where shall we start? 13. If any man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her and give occasions of speech against her and bring up an evil name upon her and say, I took this woman, and when I came unto her, I found her not to be a maid. Right? In other words, I found her not to be a virgin. Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate. Right? This further proves that that word maid really goes into a young virgin. Right? How do we know? Because the next verse that follows tells of her father and her mother bringing the tokens of her virginity, proving that she was a virgin. Verse 16. And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hated her. Right now in Israel, in the ancient world, just because we was all together doesn't mean we all got along. And you can read that when you read Judges and, and Samuel, right? And even Kings. Israel, we had family problems. We had internal conflicts. So I say that to say you had jerks and assholes, excuse my French, in Israel. And certain men, they might want to go into a lady just to go into her and say she's not a virgin, just so he can kind of go into the next lady, So, that's just a historical understanding. So let's dive back into it. Verse 16. And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hateth her. And lo, he hath given occasion of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid, and yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. Right? This is the token of the virginity. Because obviously when a man were, if a man is to go into a woman for the first time, there's going to be traces of blood. That's the token, in other words, a sign of virginity. Matter of fact, this is the definition of token. Right here. Token, a word which in the OT, that's the Old Testament, is used practically synonymously with sign. Right? So that's what a token is. It's a sign. So when you read that and it says the token of her virginity, it's the sign of her virginity. So diving back into it, starting in verse 17, and lo, he hath given occasions of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid, and yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city, just to prove it, right? You have to prove all things. And the elders of that city shall take the man and chastise him, and they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver, and give them unto the fathers of the damsel. Right? So that's what you call a fee. So you had to pay a certain fee. Now, and not only that, that man will have a bad name for slandering somebody. And if you think that's not a good punishment, you have to understand what it means to have a bad name. Right? Having a bad name, that destroys your reputation. Here's a precept in Ecclesiastes. And, that's a daughter of Israel. And the Lord can jam you up for that. You can't just think, okay, well, I'm a man. The Lord only dealing with the man. If you do something wrong to the man or revile to God, you're going to get judged. Hey, you can get judged for mistreating your sisters as well. For those are the daughters of Zion too. Right? Most High can surely jack you up and even kill you. Verse 10, it's like in verse 1. Dead flies cause the ointment of the apothecary to send forth a stinking savor. Right? So doth a little folly him that is in reputation for wisdom and honor. Right? In other words, all it takes for a little fly to make the whole ointment stink. So all it takes is a little bit of folly to destroy the reputation of a man that's known for wisdom and honor. Nobody will do business with you. Nobody's going to come to you for counsel. Nobody wants to hire you. Your name, that's how people become strangers, kind of. You just destroy your name. So that's Deuteronomy 22 and where we left off. 17. Let's jump to 18. 19. And they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver and give them to the father of the damsel, because he hath brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Israel. And she shall be his wife, and he may not put her away all his days. And I got to deal with her, and that's going to be a rough couple of months or however in a marriage, because now you have to deal with each other and communicate. And he has to atone for his sins and kind of reconcile that relationship and love her and take care of her. And this also proves that sex is marriage. This proves that sex is marriage. All right, verse 20. But if this thing be true, and the tokens of virginity be not found for the damsel, right? Then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones, that she die, because she hath wrought folly in Israel to play the whore in her father's house. So shall thou put away evil from among you. Right? And again, that's what you call adultery. Right? And this means that she already slept with somebody already. If a man be found lying with a woman married to an husband, they shall both be put to death. It's like they shall both of them die, both the man that lay with the woman and the woman. So shalt thou put away evil from Israel. If a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed, right, unto a husband, and a man find her in the city and lie with her, right, that woman is promised to marry that man, then they shall bring them both out of the gate of the city, and ye shall stone them with stones that they die, the damsel because she cried not, being in the city, and the man because he hath humbled his neighbor's wife. So thou shalt pay. It's like you put away evil from among you. Right? That means the woman was with it. She didn't care. That's what you call consensual copulation. Verse 25. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and a man force her, right, that's without consent, and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die. Right now he has to die. But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as when a man riseth against her, it's like against his neighbor, and slayeth him, even so is this matter. For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, right? And again, this is more proof that that sex consummates marriage, because it didn't say anywhere between if and found that, you know, writings and papers and meeting the father. That's not in this verse, right? This is strictly if a man finds a damsel that is a virgin, that's not betrothed, and have sex with her. What follows? Then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her. He may not put her away all his days. Why is that? Because sex consummates the marriage at the end of the day. Because if it didn't, then that means that'll disannul a few laws. You know, that'll be a domino effect. And not only that, now a daughter of Zion can play a harlot in the city of Israel, or in the nation of Israel, because sex isn't marriage. It says this for a reason, but you have to understand and apply wisdom when you read the law, that there are certain if-then situations. If this happens, then this must follow. If this happens, then this must follow. Thus saith the Lord. So that's plain upon the tables. So of course, traditionally, moving in a righteous manner, you should want to meet the father, right? Let everything be done decently in order. Have the instruments of writing as is done in Tobit. However, that was not always the case, right? And the Most High knows Israel. That's why he put this in here for a reason, because certain people would just lie together, you know, off a whim. So what happens to them if they lie together off the whim? It'll always say, okay, now you have to be with each other forever. It is what it is, which is why at the end of the day, sex is what really seals the deal. Because now pre-adventure, you lose that instruments of writing. Well, I mean, how can you prove that you married her? What other proof is there? Y'all are lying together. Even if y'all were to, you know, even if let's say she was a virgin, and now you have the tokens of her virginity. That's the proof that y'all laid together. You understand? So, writings to instruments isn't always the only proof. But nevertheless, Abba Ratzah Israel has been edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai. Shalom.